is out of the country. I will stand in for him. After the referendum victory, internal disagreements led to a split. ODM Raila's faction and ODM Kenya Kalonzo's faction. Raila's ODM went on to contest the 2007 general election, nearly capturing power in one of Kenya's most disputed elections, and establishing that the vision of the ODM that it led was really the true story that Kenyans want to hear about. At its formation in 2005, ODM crafted a clear and bold vision, rooted in the spirit of reform and the will of the people. Defending the people's sovereignty became an important item on our agenda, ensuring that the will of Kenyans, as expressed in the referendum, would guide constitutional, political, and economic reforms. Advancing constitutional change became our permanent mission, replacing centralized governance with a people-driven constitution, promoting devolution, inclusivity, and checks and balances on presidential power. Bridging the gap between the rich and the poor was also on our agenda. Pressing historical injustices in land, addressing historical injustices in land, governance, and human rights, and ensuring fair resource distribution. Strengthening multi-party democracy, fighting corruption, and protecting civil liberties. Under the leadership of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, ODM sought to unite Kenya in its diversity, embracing our ethnic, cultural, and regional identities under the clarion call, Chungwa moja, maisha bora. Chungwa moja, maisha bora. The path has been rough and slippery at times, yet our spirit has never wavered. In 2007, we launched our manifesto, the ODM Roadmap to Real Change. Its three key pillars remain relevant today. 1, constitutional and institutional reform. A people-driven constitution, rule of law, accountability, and balanced presidential powers. 2, devolution and equitable development. Resources to reach every county and correct historical marginalization. 3rd, economic growth and equity. Job creation for the youth, agricultural empowerment, and fair access to land, and a prosperous modern industrial and manufacturing sector. Social justice and human development, free basic education, universal health care, and poverty reduction. National unity and cohesion, inclusivity across all divides, and a war against corruption, nepotism, and impunity. Further infrastructure and modernization, expanding roads, energy, ICT, water, and housing for all. Our goal was simple yet profound: to redefine governance and redistribute opportunity so that every Kenyan could truly feel the promise of independence. Ladies and gentlemen, we must now look at our legacy. Our story is written in the heartbeat of this nation. In 2005, we stood tall and said no to a flawed constitution, and that victory birthed our movement. The president was part of the leadership of that movement. 2007, ODM became the largest faction in parliament, or the largest party in parliament, proving it was not a regional party, but a national force. 2008, in crisis, ODM chose peace over power. Remembering what happened in Italy, for example, in 1871. Under the Grand Coalition, our leader became Prime Minister, and we laid the foundation for reforms that will still shape Kenya today. In 2010, we achieved one of our founding goals, the birth of a new constitution that devolved power and protected rights. 2013, 17, and 22, though denied victory through political malpractice, ODM stood firm as the people's watchdog, the voice of accountability, and the defender of revolution. Asante sana ndugu wangu. Mungu akubariki. ODM has been tested but never broken, challenged but never defeated. As we celebrate 20 years of resilience, we must renew our covenant with the people of Kenya. The next 20 years must be about economic justice, building an economy that works for the mama mboga, the boda rider, and the village farmer that we envisioned in Vision 2030. Social protection, healthcare for every family, education for every child, dignity for every worker, defending devolution, ensuring resources which where our people live and our people dream for a better future. Unity and inclusivity. A Kenya where no community is left behind and no citizen feels like a stranger in their own country. And above all, ODM must nurture a new generation of leaders. Men and women will carry this flame of reform into the future. In conclusion, mabwana na mabibi, na wale wasio na mabibi, let us remember this truth. ODM is not just a party, it is a movement. ODM is the dream. ODM is the dream of the farmer who tills his land seeking fair markets. ODM is the cry of the mother who wants health care for her children. ODM is the hope of the youth, yearning for opportunity, dignity, and justice. We must reignite the fire for the next 20 years, a fire of struggle, service, resoluteness, and victory. I foresee political jungles opening up, darkness giving way to light, and lives transformed. So let us rise, united, one people, one movement, one nation. May ODM live on. May democracy thrive. May the people of Kenya forever be free and prosperous. Long live ODM. Long live a united Kenya. ODM at 20, stronger than ever. Asanteni sana. Can I take this opportunity, please, to call my chairman, Henry Kosgei, to come and say a word. This is the founder chairman of the ODM. Chamge?
Missing.
Still missing.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, all protocols observed, ODM members, mko tayari? Asante sana. I don't have a speech because you never warned me I'm going to make a speech. So I'll be very brief. First, let me take this opportunity to congratulate ODM for making it to 20 years. I think you are only second to Kanu. And quite a number of all of us also came from Kanu. So congratulations, and as the SG says, not the current one, the old one, says, long live ODM. He has given a history. Let me give a little bit more. ODM was born out of the No campaign of 2005. When we went to say no, to reject what we call the Kilifi draft, Wako draft. I saw Wako here. Wabi Wako? Yeah, Yukule, yeah, Wako, almost Wako. We rejected your draft. We went to the IEBC to choose a symbol. And when we got there, I was there, when we got there, we too had two, on one hand a banana and an orange on the other. And I remember very well, very clearly, him giving us a banana. He gave us on this hand, but then took it back and gave us the orange. So we grabbed the orange. I always wondered what would have happened if we had taken the banana. Anyway, we were lucky. We got the banana, we got the orange, and the banana ended up with the other side, and they became bananas. And then, fast forward, after the campaign, we campaigned so hard as a team. Now we in Kanu, together with the president and Honorable Musalia, and quite a number, with the LDP group. At that time, we in Kanu, we had lost 2002 elections. And actually, the government that came in persecuted us, particularly people from Rift Valley. They were sacked, those in the military, those in the police force, those in parastatals. They were sacked left, right, center, until, I think the president remembers this, we said, please, enough is enough. Don't continue, persecuting us. And we tried to create a dialogue to stop the persecution, because we had lost quite a number of people. Imagine, there was 20 senior police officers who were one day told, out, get out. And they were sitting in their cars, doing nothing, waiting to be. So when I hear sometimes stories about blah, 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 I wonder, do they really remember? Anyway, so we teamed up with LDP. So immediately after the referendum, they were sacked. The LDP group who had joined the part of NAC, they were sacked. So we were happy. Now we could work together. They have been sacked, we have been victimized, so we teamed up. Fast forward, we went round after winning the no, and we said, this can be a party, the Orange Democratic Movement. And Your Excellency, you'll remember in Kisumu, that big, huge rally where they were singing, Ruto, Ruto, Ruto. Because you had done a very good campaign, so they thought we won the election, we won the no, because you did a wonderful campaign. So we said we can go and form a party. So we agreed to go and meet in Machakos, this place called Kwashambungo. I don't know that I pronounced that correctly, but we went there and agreed in principle that let's form a party. Now, Your Excellency, His Excellency the President had shown presidential ambitions. Raila was there, Mudavadi was there, Achib Alala was there, Hormonyaga was there. They had said they want to be president. And you can see, in ambition, you must be ambitious. Kuwa presidency rahisi. So they went into a room themselves to discuss who will be. I think they must have been discussing, you might tell us, they must have been discussing who would be chairman. But then they agreed that none of them who has presidential ambitions should be chair. So they said, who should be given the interim chairman? So Julius Kemboy, who was one of the lawyers who was inside, and Otieno Kachwang was also in the meeting. Julius was the first one to come and said, would you like to be chairman? I said, of course, yes, I don't mind being chairman. And then Otieno Kachwang followed. Otieno Kachwang came to try and convince me to be chairman. I was already convinced. So we agreed. They came. The rest of the positions, I think, you came later. After that, Kwashambungo as acting secretary. Then we went to Naivasha to strategize now on what the party principles and values are. And we had a very big argument on who should be members. Individual members, and of course Uhuru and Kanu and Gideon were still in Kanu. We were also in Kanu. And they said, let's have also corporate members. And for a whole 2 days, we talked about who should be member, corporate or individuals only. Raila was for individuals. We talked over, we agreed, let's have both individual members and corporate. So we went out of our way to accommodate Kanu. So we came in, and then we now came to Nairobi to register the ODM. And we found out that a mischievous character called Manyara, with maybe I can't call it, maybe a sinister motive, had registered our party. How come? Who is this Manyara? We haven't even known him. I think I've met the character twice. Is he here? Wapi? He's around, eh? One day he will tell us his motive. So we decided, no, let's register ODM Kenya. So we went ahead and registered ODM Kenya. It was not easy. The government refused to register. But through connections here and there, Janet, the first executive officer, knew some people in the Register of Societies, and we managed to register ODM Kenya. But because we could not be officials, because if we had become officials, we would have had to resign from our seats as members of parliament. So we took, but a little bit, they even refused to give us a certificate of registration. So we went and I climbed up Sharia House, there's a wall, it's not a wall, it's a barrier. And we got the certificate anyway. And I was trying to carry to show the people. And the young people from Kibera, you know how they are. They wanted to grab the certificate. and I was holding it in my hands, and they eventually broke the glass, and it cut my hand here. I have a mark. And then we went with it to Uhuru Park, trying to have a small rally. And the police came and tear gassed us. First time nilikula tear gas. Kwa hivyo, kama hujakula tear gas, hujapata chochote. Anyway, so we registered the party under Manso and I don't know who else, maybe the president knows, I don't know all of them. You know, age is catching up on me. But we got so we went to Panafric Hotel. At that time, there was still push and we were still pulling. Uhuru was still pulling, but I don't know what he wanted, and we had given corporate members. So I called him, I said, Uhuru, go back to your people. Don't come and harass us here. Go back to Kano and build your base there. We will remain here. And then Kalonzo also, and Mutula Senior, still continued wanting, kumbe they knew. The next thing, they ran away with the party. That Dan Manso. Huh? So we were partyless. We were all dear, but without any party. They had run away with the party. So now we thought of, what shall we do? What shall we do? Imanyara has registered the other one. Here is ODMK is gone. So we thought, well, let's register for ODM Asili or ODM Original. So we were still debating. But the party leader, Honorable Raila, and may his soul rest in peace, you know, he was a good thinker. So one day, when we were still talking, there was a restaurant somewhere we used to go sometimes on Lanana Road. He said, you know, kumbe he had actually decided to approach Imanyara and, well, ask what you want. The rest you can conclude. So Raila told us, we have the party. We have the ODM now. So, hallelujah. Now we are back to, we have not formed the ODM Original or ODM that. So we continued now as a party towards the election of 2007. And I can tell you, it was a hot election. And I can tell you, we fought on principles. We came up with that Maisha Bora what was it again? Chungwa Moja, Maisha Bora. We came up with that one. But let me tell you also, at that time, there was also this idea of Machimbo. Machimbo. Everybody thought Machimbo meant, some ethnic, occupation, particularly in Rift Valley. Nobody wanted to hear we wanted Machimbo. But our brothers thought Machimbo means being expelled from an area. So we thought of, what shall we do? What is the next word? What is the next word? So one day, Rosemary, is Rosemary here? Rosemary Adinga came up with the word ukatusi. So that's how, a young lady comes with an alternative. We were wondering, what shall we call? Is there no other word other than Machimbo? Maybe we should have asked watu wa pwani watuambie. But imagine a young lady from Nyanza came up with the word ukatusi. Up to now, I don't even know what ukatusi means, but we used it anyway as ukatusi. So because one of the principles of ODM was devolution, to have a devolved government. We used to say we don't want an imperial presidency, we want to devolve power and resources. Fast forward, 2013, 2007, of course, everybody knows, the results. What happened? We were beaten. The president and I, we were still arguing with Kivuitu about 6 o'clock. Then the police came and clobbered us, beaten us, and Itere, who was then the commandant of the JSU, and I think he was rewarded eventually. He became commissioner of police. Came and grabbed Kivuitu, took him to State House to go and announce the winner, in quotes. And we were left almost orphaned. We went to some place near Hurlingham there, just to watch the swearing in at 7 p.m. So we watched, then we decided, what shall we do? As we were coming out, the country erupted. People started, the fighting that happened, the post-election violence. And then, worse still, they came back and said we had planned it. And case one, the president, Sang, and myself, we ended up 8,000 kilometers away in a court. The most unjust thing. I always ask the president, shall we ever get justice for being dragged all the way to 8,000 kilometers to be charged over? Can you imagine one of the items on the charges is rape? Imagine me being charged for rape. Anyway, I don't want to go into too much history. So that is that. And then, of course, after 2007, 2013, His Excellency the President formed URP, and he gave me a ticket, actually. He told me, I give you the Senate ticket, direct nomination. But because I was trying to be loyal, this party have been there for 8 years. 8 years. Shall I leave Raila like this? But I knew I was going to lose, because if the whole place was URP. So I said, okay, let me lose. But I had direct nomination, courtesy of the president. So I told my son, you know, where I am, I'm going to lose. If you want to win, go to URP. So he went to URP and won. I lost. So that was one sacrifice I made for ODM. But then later, I wanted to hand over now proper. I wanted to hand over and go. So the election happened in that after the 2013 election, there was an election. There was one election actually that was successful in 2008 at Bomas, where actually I was officially elected by the party leader and the chair, and president was deputy party leader. Honorable Musalia Mudavadi was deputy party leader. That was a good election. In 2013, I agreed now I'm going to hand over and go and leave ODM kabisa kwa waendelee. And then after I had handed over, there was going to be an election. Anyang Nyong'o, my friend Anyang Nyong'o, convinced me, oh, why don't you wait and have something to eat before you go? So I agreed. Itumbo saa zingine ni kitu kibaya. So I agreed to wait. So we went to eat. And then now when we came back, it was voting time. I said, I'm still a member. Let me vote. While I'm trying to cast my vote, some goons in black, we call them men in black, came and kicked out everything. I rushed out to my car. I don't know what happened at that time. That was almost my last function or my last activity in ODM. I went away, and the rest is history. So I went, and I changed the party now to now URP was later immediately after that Jubilee came. I became a Jubilee member. Then I became a UDA member. I'm currently UDA member. But I must congratulate you again for, lasting this long and building on the values, what actually every Kenyan aspires to be, a just and fair society, a prosperous society, a society that we can all proudly say we belong. And now since you said, or the MC here said, we want to take stock of what you have done and what the future is going to be, or what the future should be. Let me offer you my advice, unsolicited. I know I'm taking so long. Unsolicited advice. Kenya is a country of, various, you might call them, tell me, for the sake of a better word, ethnic communities. And we want a united country. We want a united nation. We want a prosperous country. And we can only do that if we remain united. I know, Anyang Nyong'o, you don't like me to say this, but now the future is the future. Baba left you in the broad-based government. stay in broad-based government, you know, in 2013, they formed something called CORD. 2017, they formed, what was it? NASA. That Musalia was NASA. And then 2022, we formed what? Asimio. So, the 2027, and I said, I'm going to offer you advice from an old man like me. 2027, broad-based. Broad-based. You can baptize it, but broad-based. Under His Excellency, William Samoei Ruto. Because I have given that history, and we have seen we have been together anyway. In spirit and in everything. Maybe in different parties, but we have been together. Let us stay together as one nation. What did you say? One. You can continue saying one nation, one. Bas. Asanteni sana. This guy, when we were looking for a slogan for Tuko Tayari, he's the one who came up with the word Tuko Tayari. And near Methodist guest house there, and we said Tuko Tayari. And the other side said Tuko Pamoja. So they always copied. But stay in the broad-based government. Stay in the coalition of William Samoei Ruto. Whatever you will call it broad-based coalition. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, my chair. One more clap for my chair. Asanteni sana, asanteni sana. I want to call to the stage now, after you've listened to my chair giving you a very good history of the ODM. I concentrated on the ODM's ideology, and he gave you a very good history. Now you are learned from here. BA, MA, to the other side.